Says we're live.
That's Heavy Metal Kids Zoom meeting. God damn it. And now we're live again.
Douglas Morris is in the old one.
And now we're double live while you're playing the live one that we just lived.
I didn't live up for any of this.
What's up, Dark Judges, Desperados, and Dudes in Dick-Shaped Helmets? You're listening to Cursed Earth Radio Live, the one and only podcast bringing Dredd to the Dreadless.
Broadcasting outside the walls of Mega City 1 across the Black Atlantic in North America. I'm Cool Jonathan Cool.
And this is Heavy Metal Thin Kid. And tonight we're live. We're in the same room. That's right, Richie Flannery in the chat. We are Wiener. Tell them about all the wieners we're going to be talking about today.
Well,
cool, Johnny. Cool.
We're going to talk about Joe's Wiener and Burrito Must Die, Chapter 2. Chimsky's Law. Chet, I hate you. I love you. I hate you. Enemy Earth is doing things with plants. President Truman died again in hope. And Dirty Frank is so very, very cold. But he wants some joy.
And we're back here with your little bit of joy for the evening. That's right.
We're
sitting at home going, man, I wish I could listen to people less smart than me talk about things they don't understand.
Here we are.
Here we go. And Richie and Doug in the chat are here, and they're all signed up for it, man. What's going on today?
I'm typing.
Oh, okay.
Quit talking
to me. Well, so let me tell you about everything that's going on in the world of Judge Dredd here in the United States. Not a goddamn thing.
We are the Judge Dredd world of the United States.
That's it. Yeah. Hey, I do have news for you, Johnny, and you can do a live reaction here, live response, an unboxing, but I didn't bring the box.
Oh, thank God.
We got a package in the mail from Jake Lynch.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, our buddy Jake Lynch.
So another thing I won't get from you.
Well, let's not go into there now. Let's not go back into the reason why we don't have the original photo here. That you're supposed to, and I'm not allowed to cut with scissors like a man. Like
your therapist said, you're not allowed to have scissors anymore.
Lizzie, I'm not allowed to run with scissors. Jake sent us a package.
No shit.
And sent us some copies of the Progs that we're in.
Oh,
thanks to him.
Thank you, Jake.
And also sent us some really nice prints
of our dumb faces.
No, of Sentientoid.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Jake.
And it was actually the cover for Prog 2297.
Oh.
Now, thanks to the United States Postal Service, they are a little scrunchied and wrinkled, but
so am I.
And my thought process is like, that is just a testament to the fact that our friend who we met through our love of this comic and this character sent us something from all the way from the UK over here. So I'm going to be excited to hang these up.
Hell yeah. We got to send them that other thing.
Yes, we have a whole package that we have to send that way.
The total package?
Yes. So yeah, man, that's I'm also going to go ahead and say I started a Judge Fear tattoo on my chest. That's my other Dredd news for the week. I'm very excited.
HMK is super dedicated.
Yeah.
I'm a horse. We kind of shot our wad before we got on. That doesn't sound good at all. Anyway, it's like that. We were going to discuss. My daughter is falling apart. Stop it. We were going to discuss Halloween Ends, but both of us haven't watched it yet, so we'll save that for another time. Halloween Ends, we'll call that.
Halloween Ends.
Yes, I have to watch the new Hellraiser. HMK has to watch the new Halloween, and we will discuss middle-aged horror franchises being drugged through the dirt.
Yeah, man, I was fully ready to just have you tell me about Halloween and me tell you about Hellraiser.
I want you to
watch both.
I want you to see it because we both saw Kills.
Yeah. We had very, very widely differing opinions on Kills.
Yes. Yeah. I greeted Halloween Ends with general ambivalence.
Yeah.
I just said, well, that was the thing.
Yeah.
If you check the Michael Myers fan base on the internet, it's the end of all good things.
Yeah.
This is the worst installment since the last installment, since the one before that, since Busta Rhymes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've learned because you are and probably less so than you were when we met, actually, but you were like an OG, super hardcore Halloween fan, mask collector. Really,
I still am.
Really into the fandom. But
no, I was the worst thing about anything is the fans.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I've learned through you that Halloween fans are crazier than all other horror movie fans. I don't know what's wrong with these guys, but they get real weird and crazy about stuff.
And as we discussed before we started the podcast, none of them are cinema verite. No. None of them are Gone with the Wind or The Seventh Seal or Ben-Hur. They are 90-minute slash-a-thons with a man in a rubber mask.
Yeah. Outside
in 78, which, kind of kickstarted the whole modern slasher genre, they're all garbage to one degree or another.
Sure, man.
And hot garbage.
I mean, that genre, was never, until later on when people started doing things in spite of the genre, it was never meant to be anything super artsy. You just ended up having some directors who had some cool visions and were really talented and made something in spite of being a horror film. But as I don't know where we started expecting, Halloween 5 to be some great work of cinema. Because at the end of the day, it's 13-year-old boy inside your head going, cool mask. I like that. And we don't need more, but it's really weird how people, hold these movies to such standards. And I've been certainly guilty of doing that in the past as well. I remember legitimately thinking at a time in my life that I was going to go protest the new Prom Night remake. Can you imagine the absurdity of gathering people together to protest a movie that nobody knows exists?
It doesn't uphold the integrity of the original.
Yeah, Paul Lynch's masterpiece.
It's just like they're all garbage. Mm-hmm. The thing about most of the vocal majority of the Myers fan community online is they have been just drowned in their own hubris. They don't understand that their chosen installment is also hot garbage.
Yeah.
You and I are both big fans of the Thorn trilogy, 4, 5, and 6. Hot garbage.
Yeah.
Know it. I'm okay with it. I love nothing more than watching Paul Rudd overact his way through the coolest installment of Halloween with the coolest mask and a cult and weird possession. And it's all horseshit.
Yeah.
Yet some of these folks, oh my God, this doesn't uphold the integrity of the franchise. Yeah. Motherfucker, did you see Halloween Resurrection?
Oh God. I remember I had a real transformative moment in my fandom of horror films. And, I have been the archaeologist for horror films where I'm just digging and ordering things from other countries and paying absurd amounts of money back in the day when you couldn't. The Burning was very legendary. Still to this day, my favorite slasher film. Legendary. Always heard about it. Heard about the raft scene. Big build up. Finally watched The Burning, and it did, as very few films do after having such a huge reputation, live up to the hype for me. It did. I loved it. And then I started, singing the praises of Tony Maylam, I believe is the director. I could be wrong. Started singing his praises as this amazing director who did all
visionary.
Yes. And I remember telling people, yes, on the raft scene, Cropsey pops up and he kills all these people. And then it fades to red. And I was always talking about how great that was. Then I listened to commentary and the guy, moderating goes, "No, Tony, you fade to red here. What does that mean?" He goes, "Oh, it's either that or black."
I love it. Doesn't matter. Well, look cool.
Yeah.
You've imposed all this meaning and subtext on it. And he's like, just fucking look cool.
And, and of course, people like Dario Argento have set me up for that, because they do put a lot of
everything. There was tells and ties. And whatnot.
Yeah. But when Argento made Suspiria, it was his work, his masterpiece, blah, blah, blah. When Tony Maylam made The Burning, or Renee, whatever his name was, made Friday the 13th or Halloween 5.
Oh yeah, Dominic Oranthi.
Oh, okay, that's Renee, something or other. Yeah, Frenchman.
Yes, Frenchy McFrench toast.
Yes, when he made it, I don't know that he cared.
He did not, and in his defense, they didn't even have a complete script when they were shooting that. Same thing with Halloween 6. The point is, fans of everything ruin everything. Case in point, this podcast.
Yeah.
But that, people need to realize, if they're defending any horror franchise, 90% of the time, your chosen steed in this race is also dumb garbage.
Yeah.
All the time. I would like to see a Burning remake, only to see more of Cropsey.
Yeah.
Because he's in it for what, 15 minutes? The whole damn movie?
Yeah.
I mean, you get all that character building and you believe those kids really know each other and have long-standing relationships, but I'm here to see Cropsey.
I have a parody, or like I don't even know what you call it. I have a poster, and I think it was called Cool Kids Club that made this poster, and it was a fictional poster for The Burning 2.
Yes, downstairs in your basement, right?
Yeah, starring Ernest Borgnine as Cropsey, and I love this idea, man.
Who would you put in charge of a remake of Burning?
Oh man, I don't know that like there is a director out there that I feel like is like the new slasher guy, but like
Paul W. Anderson.
And it would have to be somebody who, if they're going to remake The Burning more than any other, even like a Halloween movie or something, it needs to be really mean-spirited.
Oh God, yeah.
That was a movie that didn't have, that killer didn't have the appeal of someone like Jason or Freddy, which can be kind of endearing. It was just really mean, resentful, hate-filled.
I mean, those pricks set him on fire.
Yeah. He was. I mean, I definitely see how he, how he rolls there. But now, I have this scenario, and maybe we'll talk about it a lot more when we do our combo next time. But when I'm watching a movie now, like the Hellraiser movie, and I won't go into my thoughts on it much other than to say that like I think I've been spoiled by like really my enjoyment of like A24 type shit, where it's like it's a horror movie, but at the same time it never gives you that narrative, like very clear, very straightforward narrative. I think I just like weird stuff. Like my perfect Hellraiser would have been like, it's a Hellraiser movie for 2/3, and in the last half, a man gives birth to a baby and starts lactating, and everybody dies, and then you have no idea what's happening. That's the kind of like, I don't appreciate movies that are just like so straightforward anymore, and that's weird for me because but I think when it comes to horror movies, I'm like, just give me something weird visually. Whereas spoiler alert, in my take on Hellraiser was it was just a little bit too much of a monster movie.
So you want a Rorschach horror movie where you can just tell me what you see in the blood blots.
Yeah. And now sometimes that's too much for me. I just watched the movie called Men. I don't know if you've heard of that or
seen Men.
It's not that one.
No,
not the one you have to subscribe to OnlyFans for. No, it's very artsy, almost to a fault, to the point where like I don't know that anybody knew what was going on.
Does it so kind of disappear up its own ass?
It's what's the guy? He's a great director. I think it's the dude that did like Black Swan and The Wrestler.
Okay. Yeah.
He's always been somebody who kind of plays around with metaphors, but like there, spoiler alert, at the end of Men, there are just people giving birth to people who then give birth to people. And then the Green Man comes out, and I don't know what the fuck is going on. And I don't think you're supposed to. You're supposed to feel a certain way. Just
a little too esoteric.
A little too esoteric. I want something in the middle. And for me, all those A24 movies really do it for me, man. That's a company where I can be like, oh, A24, yeah, I'm going to want to watch that once and never again, but I'm going to feel away. I'm going to enjoy it.
Did they do The Green Knight?
Yeah, I believe that was an A24. And I'll say my favorite A24, and I'll close out my chapter of talking about bullshit that doesn't have to do with Dredd by saying I watched a movie from A24. It was produced by, I believe, wasn't released theatrically, but it was called In Fabric. I watched it a year ago. I have not stopped thinking about how much I loved it and how great it was. And I've been like, it's like, if you like Dario Argento, it's 2/3 an Argento movie. If you like David Lynch, it's 1/3 David Lynch. It's weird.
That's a hell of a stew.
Yeah. And I tell everybody about this movie. You have to see this movie. I know it wasn't one of the big A24s, but it was great, and great acting and weirdness, and
kind of like our podcast.
Yeah.
I think I'll say this, and we'll get to what everybody's here for, is the wienering.
Yes.
The problem with horror is that the only thing that makes it to theaters now are remakes and sequels of established franchises.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the kids growing up on horror now. They don't have anything that's intrinsically their own.
Yeah.
It's always Michael Myers or Jason or Freddy or, Pinhead. To a lesser extent, Leatherface. Leatherface has just been beat to shit with terrible movies.
No, yeah. And Leatherface is one of those characters too that I don't think was ever meant to be.
No, it was supposed to be one movie.
Yeah.
And Toby Hooper got a chance to make the sequel, and he said, all right, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to be real weird with it.
Yeah. He even knew he couldn't match that energy, so he just made a horror comedy.
I really want to see the unedited cut of Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Put back together.
Me too.
Shout Factory did a 4K, and I was like, oh, great. It's still not the uncut. What the hell? If they can put Halloween 6 back together for a Blu-ray, you can't tell me that they can't pull all that shit for Event Horizon or put the Friday the 13th back together before the censors rip them to shreds.
I really do think I also am a big fan of Event Horizon, but over the years as I've watched it, I've kind of realized, at least for me, I'm like, I like it. I like the visuals. I like a lot of it, but I think I love the idea more than I love the execution. It's like, it's very 2000 AD, we went to space and found the devil. I like that. I love that idea, but it's got such a sheen on top of it of things that I don't like. Cast is amazing though, great cast. But the more I watch it, that and Pandorum, which are unofficial sequels to one another.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They're sequel-ish. So
did Paul W. Anderson direct?
So Paul W. Anderson directed Event Horizon, and then his partner produced, and then they flip-flopped, and his partner directed.
Oh, I've never seen Pandorum.
Man, it is one of the most Brink things you've ever seen.
I really want to watch it because I love Event Horizon, which is in itself is a bit of a unicorn because I hate Paul W. Anderson.
Yeah.
He's fucking terrible. Outside of Event Horizon, he's fucking awful.
Yeah, no, you definitely watch Pandorum, man. It's for anyone that the quick pitch is, these people are on very much like a Brink-like. It's the arc. We have to save humanity, and there's some sort of element to this ship where it helps. There's like a thing that helps people adapt to whatever climate they land on, right? Mm-hmm. But the ship ends up getting derelict, and so the ship kind of helps people merge with the ship, and so it's like a weird it's great,
like the nurse in Superman 3 that freaked me out when I was a kid.
It's like a weird tribal it's very cool, very enjoyable, and there's like elements of space madness in it.
I like that.
Everybody likes it's very Brink, and the color scheme is very Brink.
I need to check this. Is it streaming? Do you know?
Man, I have no idea. It's Dennis Quaid in it.
Pandorum. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
Horror. It's tough being a horror fan.
Yeah.
My wife can attest to this. We were watching Halloween Ends last week, and I think 5 minutes in, I called it. I looked at her and said, "This is how this ends. Remember, I said this."
Yeah.
And we got to the end. Sure as shit.
Yeah.
It was like when I watched The Village. I was hoping for like a period piece on horror. That'd be awesome. I love that shit. Like The Witch.
Yeah.
I fucking love that movie.
I love The Witch, yeah.
And I looked at my wife, and this spoiler, if you haven't seen The fucking Village by now, it's 20 years old.
Yeah.
I looked at my wife and said, $5 says this is some bullshit and it's modern times and they're just living in an isolated, and sure as shit, when you fucking know.
Well, at least you got to have that realization on your own. I have a wonderful, magical, kind-hearted brother-in-law who I love so much, but he goes, "Hey, are you going to go see that Village movie?" And I was like, "Which one is that?" And he's like, "It's the M. Night Shyamalan one where the people are, you think they're living in the past, but it's actually now." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, no, I probably won't go see that one. Thanks a lot, man."
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I went through a lot of late 90s horror a while ago. I watched Dracula 2000.
Yeah.
And I remember that has a soft spot for me because my wife and I saw that when we were still young in our relationship. Doesn't hold up so well.
Not a good movie.
Not a good movie.
You want to get worse? Dracula 3000. You want to get way worse?
Which one had
Argento's Dracula?
Dracula 3000 had Coolio in it, didn't it?
Oh God, I did. I owned it at one point, but
I remember your room.
Yeah.
The kids. I mean, you get stuff like Leslie Vernon or Victor Crowley, but it never makes it to theaters, so the kids don't know about it. And
I got to see Victor Crowley in theaters.
Really?
Like Hatchet.
That was a screening though, wasn't it?
Got to see it with Adam Green, the
director,
director, who's a very nice human being who long story too long to tell on this podcast have ties to, because I spent $5,000 on a whole bunch of stolen hatchet props or
that you did not know were hot.
Right, yeah. But and got to have a nice moment with Adam Green where he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm just glad they went to a fan. Cool, it's such a cool.
Can I have him back?
Fucking guy, yeah. No, I even was like, "Yo, I brought him. You want him?" He's like, "No."
My daughter she's a spooky kid because she's of my DNA.
Yeah.
So she's branching out. We watched the Universal stuff, and she's wanting to watch scarier and scarier.
Yeah.
So she pulled the first Scream off the shelf, and I said, "You put that right back." And she goes, "Why?" And I said, "It's too violent for you right now." And she goes, "Well, how old were you when you started watching it?" And I was like, 7, but it was the 80s and no one gave a shit.
And I do think I think she'd be fine. I think Scream would be fine.
We were going to watch Trick or Treat, but my wife was like, "I think that might be a little bit too much for her."
Yeah,
the Sam Trick or Treat, not the
Well, they say
Sammy Kerr Trick or Treat.
They say that the thing that scares kids the most is normal shit gone wrong. So Chucky's are scary.
I never, even as a kid, he's the least.
Yeah,
I don't even
did the
count
gate,
him.
Did the gate scare you?
Not really.
No. Now, see, as a child, the gate scared the shit out of me.
The two movies that scared the shit out of me as a kid: Predator, where Jesse Ventura gets his chest blown out from the back.
Okay,
and it's all that viscera.
Yeah,
I think I was 7.
Yeah.
No way I should have been watching it. I had nightmares for like a week. But then it became one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And RoboCop. I've told this story before. My parents rented RoboCop and hit VHS because they thought it was a comedy. And we all sat there and watched it, and nobody tried to stop it.
It's amazing.
So I had this unhealthy fear of toxic waste and just being shotgunned to death.
in living in the United States and growing up in the 90s, we all had an unhealthy
It was going to be a much bigger problem.
Yeah, we thought toxic waste was really going to be a thing now.
I was afraid I was going to get a green mullet and have to be assembled by 5 powers combined.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, I just figured we'd be like Class of Nukem High by now, and we're not.
Man, we're barely Hell Comes to Frog now.
Oh my God. Let's do this. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, have we run everybody off yet?
Yeah, man.
So on the cover, it's Hershey. You know that, right?
You know what? I didn't.
It's Hershey.
Okay, so Hershey's on the cover.
Did you read Droid Life?
Of course, man. How'd you feel about Droid Life this week?
It's not in here.
I didn't read it this week.
Because it's not in here, you lying bastard. It's Simon Fraser on the cover. I really like it, man. Hershey's just cold and miserable, which works for Hershey.
Yeah.
Although Dirty Frank's back in the saddle, and I really want a nice end for Dirty Frank.
I knew you would be excited.
I hope he gets a retirement and not be a bullet.
Yeah, he might. Hey, we got what we wanted this week.
Horse.
That is what we wanted.
I am a horse.
Week. Yes,
I heard you.
When I read this first page of Dredd and I saw our favorite man out here, I am a horse. I was like, okay, man, I'm so glad we're back here because no matter what, Talking Horse has me every time. We're going to kill Burrito. Hopefully. Can't stand that guy.
Do you think the horse being Russian has any lineage to Ed from Red Razors?
I like to think if he doesn't have direct lineage, that he is a loving homage to Ed from Red Razors. That
a horse that only you and I care about.
Spoiler alert, if you haven't read Red Razors, you probably have if you're listening. When Ed is murdered, I gasped out loud.
It's so abrupt and apropos of nothing that is happening.
Yeah, it's really sad. And I remember I'm reading it. My wife is in the car and I went, "Oh my God,
they killed a talking horse."
And she was like, "What?" And I just said, you know what? It's too much explaining to do, but something shocking just happened,
Can you imagine if they made a Red Razors movie just out of nowhere?
Oh yeah, that's the one.
That's the one that gets over.
Yeah, they're like, we've after a lot of discussion, Dredd's gonna sit this one out.
We're going Red Razors.
We got Machine Gun Kelly to play our main character.
He's gonna play Razors.
God, yeah.
There was a movie in the 80s called Hot to Trot, starring Bobcat Goldthwait, and he owns a horse that can talk, voiced by John Candy.
Oh my God.
I want Bobcat Goldthwait to voice Ed in the live action movie.
Bobcat Goldthwait is a pretty legit director these days, man.
Yeah.
He's changed his narrative for sure.
And speaking of cinema verite, Police Academy 3, Chef's Kiss. Fucking amazing.
My band watched the entire Police Academy series on tour while we were driving.
God.
And it was great, except for if you were driving, because there's so much physical comedy that you're just driving and you don't hear anything, and everyone else in the van is laughing.
That series really falls apart after 4.
You know,
they couldn't, for some reason, couldn't get Steve Guttenberg to come back for 5.
Sure, yeah. When we were on tour, we decided we were going to do this. We're going to watch runs, but it was all based on what does Walmart have for $5.
Oh, the multi-pack.
So we got the Police Academy, and that was great. And then we got the Leprechaun, and that was not great.
Oh my God,
the Leprechaun series is not good. I
blinked and there were 800 Puppet Master films. I don't know how that fucking happens.
Yeah, man. Puppet Master films, though, if you go deep enough, Puppet Master 5, when Jeff Burr starts directing, who's the director of Texas Chainsaw 3, he did a good job with those Puppet Master films. I mean, they're not, again, not cinema verite. But there's good Puppet Master films. I actually watched The Littlest Reich recently, and
because of the extension of Mr. Grofast.
Right. Yeah. It was all right, man.
Speaking of which, I got to talk about him when we get there, but
yeah.
Maybe distant cousin of Ed is back in the saddle.
And
pleasantoid, not sentientoid. He's very pleasant now. I like how Burrito says, Isaac says, oh no, he's very docile and we've removed all his weapons. He's still got a plethora of grabby murder claws.
Yeah, that's all you need. Grabby murder claws is literally all that you need.
He's got plenty of them, a plethora.
I was real glad to see that we're not gonna have to wait a long time to get to hang out with him again. Because
that was real quick.
Man, they know what's going on up at 2000 AD. I feel like Jason Kingsley, turned to the last page on that last Sentientoid comic, and then he picked up his red phone and he said, "Get me more Sentientoid."
The people love him.
Yes.
Where's my Sentientoid Hayatoys figure?
Where's any of the Hayatoys?
Yeah, I was going to mention. Yeah, the shipping dates are just fucked now. So I'm going to get like a $300 bill.
I may have to cancel mine because at this point I'm like,
I'm hanging on. One of us has to hang on. Although you can't keep repackaging figures with vehicles at this point.
Yeah.
They repackaged Anderson with the Lawmaster. I've already got Dredd. I don't need another one.
All right.
Where's my Sentientoid? Where's my Chet Grofaz Shinsky?
Yeah.
I did have one idea. And we are just weaving wildly tonight. So you know how we've talked about how different artists render the helmet differently. We need artist signature figures, like a Brendan McCarthy, like a Jake Lynch, a Henry Flint, a Carlos.
Yeah, that's
where Hayatoys makes all my money.
Oh yeah, man, I agree. That'd be great. I want the figure version of that zombie Dredd.
Oh yeah,
that Brendan McCarthy did, which is one of my favorite images. And we got love for Leprechaun in the Hood in the chat. I don't think you've seen it recently, sir. It feels like it is 4 hours long.
It's like you're getting a colonoscopy from Captain Hook.
Oh my God. Hey, I guess one of the reasons that we're just kind of bullshitting around here is because as great as the stories are for the most part right now, everything is just kind of, there's no big action stuff happening in Dredd except for Portal Face. Who's this guy?
Yeah, Batushka shows up here.
No, which one is it? The one that's
real Batushka, but not fake Batushka.
Okay, good. Yeah, I can never hear Batushka and not call out fake Tushka.
They just played it up in Pittsburgh.
That was fake Tushka.
I know.
Yeah,
that's why I'm surprised they booked them.
I'm surprised that Metal Blade Records has stooped so low as to book a band like that. But that's different beef for a different podcast that we don't even have.
Now, is this obviously a Russian Sov Psi agent? Is that their actual face, or what they are making these judges see?
I don't even know that I didn't make the connection that this was a Russian Sov
Has
agent.
to be.
I was like, what is this thing? Yeah.
Look into my portal hole.
Yeah, man.
Where's my Hayatoys figure of this?
I was kind of like, is this some sort of holdover from the, stuff where we first met Burrito and Horse with the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse? Is this something related to that? I don't know. That's weird. That's a cool image.
I mean, the first thing I thought of was Portal.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see where we're going, because if we have Sov Psi agents coming to kill Burrito, this is not going to end well for anybody.
Yeah. I love this artwork so much, man.
Henry Flint's on his game.
The Henry Flint style, this Henry Flint style is my favorite. It just feels a little bit more rogue than some of the other Henry Flint stuff that I've seen, and I like it so much. I think it's great.
like I said, it's a lot like Jake's art where it feels kinetic. It's got energy and it's just sitting on a page. All the line work, everything feels like it's in motion. I love it. I just hope Horse survives. I mean, I don't care. Sentient Toy, keep him in one piece too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I feel like Sentient Toyd's he's got a posse now.
That's the new team up.
Yeah.
Sentient Toy and Horse.
Yes.
I want an ongoing story with those two.
We did get what we wanted in Chimsky's Law because we got our favorite three kings here.
I love Chet, our lovable idiot, is going to be the death of Chimsky.
I know. Yeah.
And did you notice Mr. Grofaz has put on weight? He wasn't this fat.
He grew fast.
Yeah, he wasn't this fat in the Three Kings.
Nobody but us would notice whether or not Mr. Grofaz has put on a couple pounds.
Just look at this page. It is 2022, and Hitler is talking to a chimpanzee.
And I posted this,
and we're loving it.
Posted this on my Instagram out of context and just said 2000 AD gives me things I didn't know I wanted.
On what plane of existence does this even happen? And I'm glad we are on that plane that it happened in.
So are you still of the opinion that you don't want to know Mr. Grofaz's deal? You don't want a backstory?
Nope. I want to, what are we going to talk about if they come out and say, well, this is it. Like when, what the hell is the director of Blade Runner.
Yeah.
When he came out and said, oh yeah, Deckard's a replicant after 20 years. You ruined everything. Let me nervously wonder about what the hell Mr. Grofaz is doing.
All right. What kind of children's entertainer? What kind of parties? Who books him? Yeah.
Just let that all out to conjecture.
It's just that randomness of Mega City 1 that anybody who comes in the middle of this is not going to get it. And anyone who's been reading forever is not going to get it, except for on an internal level where you go, well, this is Mega City 1.
Obviously, this makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were here for Chimsky and Mr. Grofaz and Chet. Chet, you imbecile.
Yeah.
You imbecile.
These evil little kids, I mean, let's face it. I'm not worried about Chimsky and I'm not worried about Chet. Everybody's going to survive. This is a lighthearted romp. But
I mean, Chimsky's in peril going out the window.
Yeah. Chet's a giant man baby.
Yes. Whereas Chimsky his intellect was such that these little Village of the Damned assholes couldn't mess with him.
Yeah.
Chet's an empty canvas. He's just.
Yeah. Man, it's like the first two.
Look at that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Grofaz has put on some weight.
But just look, there's a monkey and Hitler.
Yeah.
In a comic book that we're reading and enjoying.
And they're heroes.
How did we get here?
I know. Yeah. Again, man. Only in 2000 AD. Only 2000 AD.
Yeah, I can't see Batman teaming up with Mr. Grofaz.
What do you think of Enemy Earth?
I'm giving it a pretty wide berth. I'm not poo-pooing it just yet. I mean, it still hasn't reached out and grabbed me, but it is new.
With all those tentacles, you would think that it would.
Right?
Yeah. I don't have a lot to say about Enemy Earth yet.
There's potential.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out what everybody's doing.
And this is its first cup of coffee in the big time, as they say.
Yeah. So it's my weak link, but only in a strong comic.
We've had worse weak links.
Sure, yeah.
The Order's nowhere in here.
Oh God. But Hope.
Were you as surprised as I was that Henry Truman exploded on the second page?
Hope kind of has me just ready for just about anything. I love how really cruel and violent it feels.
Yeah, especially the head witch. I forget her name. I mean, she kills a lady and a baby at the end of this chapter. I'm assuming she's going to be the undoing of this coven.
There is not even the slightest bit of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge when it comes to this stuff. Like it's the thing in the Prog that's keeping it real.
Yeah. There's no warm center. There's no happy ending. Well, I mean, it's 2000 AD. We never get a happy ending unless it's the Three Kings.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just gets progressively worse and worse on the violence scale. I mean, the last book we had Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff in a gangbang.
Yeah, man.
Never saw that coming.
No, never saw that coming. Nice unintentional
innuendo.
Yes.
So I am just wide open for whatever the hell's
there we go again. There we go.
Yeah.
Again. Keep going. Go ahead.
You really can't call where this is going.
Yeah.
I expect it to be cruel and violent.
Yeah, man, I'm at the place now where, like, if I meet somebody and we're talking about horror comics and stuff, like, I'm gonna recommend Hope. I'm a big fan of this, and it was one of those that I've just, like, every time a new Hope series comes out,
A New Hope. I thought you hate Star Wars.
Oh my god, I like it a little bit more every time. So
I do think we need to go back and figure out Gas Mask Lady, because we were both way wrong.
Yeah. I'm sure Mac Anorak will tell us all about Gas Mask Lady. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's not a Hope guy, though.
I told him that we need to get him on the show.
Yeah.
To run the show so we can retire. Right. Maybe actually give this podcast some gravitas.
Yeah, there we go, man.
In a friggin' direction.
Podcast Verite.
Here on Cursed Earth Radio's Wiener.
Yes.
Hershey's going to get Frank killed, and I'm going to be very sad.
Yeah.
The fact that Frank, I'm assuming the pill is under his tongue.
Yeah.
The joy. Because I do not want to see him turn into a sentient ice crab from Titan's Moon. I once
was talking to somebody, and they said, yeah, man, I found a weird pill, like, on my floor. I was like, oh man, what'd you do? They're like, well, I know a guy. I just gave it to him and he took it and it wasn't anything bad. And I was like, you know a guy?
Is it my drummer?
And I was like, who's the guy? And then I went, reading this today, I went, oh, it was a Dirty Frank. It was a Dirty Frank. You know, there's always a guy.
I remember in the first two books of Hershey's story, like the first book, we didn't know it was Frank. It was some bald, sad man with one eye.
Right.
He is full tilt Frank again.
Yeah.
The idiosyncrasies, he's talking to dogs. Well, he's got a great one in here where he goes, where is it? Dirty Frank will say, that's right now, in order to appear calm and in control. That's right.
Oh my God.
He and Sentient Toy could have amazing adventures
together.
Oh,
they really could. Yeah, man. That's that's the best thing about some of these characters. It's like watching their personalities interact with one another. So yeah, let's do Dirty Frank and Sentient Toy and keep Horse.
Yes. And well, maybe Frank can ride Horse.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to walk.
That would be a really interesting conversation.
What was that? The Three Amigos with Dredd, Death, and Johnny Alpha.
It was Dredd, Death, and
Mean.
Mean. Yeah. What a great story, man.
The three other amigos.
Yeah.
Sentient Toy, Horse, and Dirty Frank.
You know, I had a chance to buy Three Amigos artwork.
Why didn't you?
It was expensive. It was.
That's never stopped you before.
Yeah, I know. It's not my biggest artwork regret, but it's pretty far up there. So yeah, man.
You know, we find ourselves at the tail end of October. We have had no Dead World.
No, but we got a little advertisement for some coolness.
Well, we got. If you need something drippy and wet and terrifying, Metal Nick Percival gets the call, and that's going on in the magazine every time. And we should read the magazine, but we can barely keep up with the Prog.
Yeah, we've got so many other things to engross ourselves in, like the Halloween franchise, and
the first 40 minutes of this episode.
Yes, but hey, at least we're doing it. Hey, by the way, Chelsea, who's not in the chat today, told us both that in the worst decision of her lifetime, she's planning on getting a tattoo of a Judge Dredd helmet with a wiener behind it.
So there's your bar, listeners.
Yeah.
Prove your swear fealty to Cursed Earth Radio by tattooing the wiener of judgment on you.
Yes, that is what it is.
The wiener of
wiener.
I hope she doesn't tattoo the wiener of judgment.
Oh my God, yeah. I'm sorry for what we've done. Yeah, man, the Prog is fine right now. The Prog right now is weighted super heavily awesome on the first two stories with Dredd and Chimsky's Law, but there's nothing bad in the Prog at all for me, man. Nothing at all bad going on in the Prog.
We've had some dark times.
Yeah.
And this isn't one of them. I do hope that Chimp Gnome's okay. I really do. I'm kind of worried. I know you're stalwart, and I know he's going to be okay, but anytime he's imperiled.
I am convinced that we're going to be okay because they know what they got. That chimp is golden.
So is Mr. Gropaz.
Oh my God. So yeah, man, thanks for listening to Cursed Earth Radio. And if you're interested, you can go on the rest of our YouTube page and listen to whatever the fuck is on there. We got all kinds of stuff. And we have a huge archive of shows available at the Cursed Earth Radio Patreon. Just send me $500 and I'll send them to you in a nice Dropbox file, and you can sort them out because I'm not fucking doing it. We've got over what? We're talking, we literally have probably 400 episodes.
Dude, we've been doing this for 3 years this year.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that long.
I know.
And we've been shouting wiener most of that time.
If you are interested in being the Cursed Earth Radio uploader and you would like us to
it doesn't pay.
It pays nothing.
It's a lot of heartache.
Yes, we will send you all the heartache in a Dropbox file. Yo,
that's my favorite Winger album.
Next week we will be back probably around the same time-ish. We got a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, next week is busy business week.
Yeah. So maybe the week after.
You might see us after All Hallows.
Yeah.
It is busy season. We got the show coming up. There's a lot of shouting, a lot of practicing.
Yeah.
A lot of costuming.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe we'll never see you again.
One thing is for sure about Cursed Earth Radio: if we go away, we always come back. It might be a hot minute, but we'll be back.
Yeah. And we'll be back to bring you the one and only thing you come here for every single week.